We were taught that the Force rewards the good and punishes the evil. That balance means harmony. That morality is the spine of the galaxy. This video will dismantle that belief, because when a system is pushed beyond survival limits, morality is no longer a law. It becomes noise. What you are about to hear is not a judgment of heroes or villains. It is an autopsy of a collapsing galaxy. This is not about good and evil. This is about what survives when everything else fails. We often comfort ourselves with the myth that the Force is a moral judge, a cosmic parent that distinguishes between the saint and the sinner. We want to believe that it favors the good because they are kind, and punishes the evil because they are cruel. But as the galaxy enters a state of total, agonizing systemic collapse under the weight of the Empire, we reach a chilling realization. The Force is not a moral entity. It is a mathematical and biological necessity. In times of extreme existential stress, the Force stops caring about our fragile definitions of right and wrong. It moves beyond the binary playground of Jedi and Sith, evolving into a raw, industrial power that seeks only one thing: survival through absolute balance. At this level of cosmic pressure, morality is a luxury that a dying galaxy can no longer afford to maintain. It is the moment the judge leaves the courtroom and the executioner takes over. When a vast forest is choked by centuries of rot and parasitic growth, nature does not pause to ask which individual trees are innocent or pure. Before it sends the cleansing fire, it does not weigh the intentions of the leaves. It simply burns the forest to save the soil. This is the terrifying state of the Force in the era of Palpatine's shadow. It has stopped weighing the hearts of men and has started weighing the scales of existence itself. If the total destruction of 1,000 good and innocent lives is what is required to reset the balance of 1 trillion others, the Force will execute that command without a flicker of hesitation. It is a cold, mechanical calculus where the individual soul is reduced to zero, and the equilibrium of the whole is everything. The Jedi Order lived in a dream, believing they were the Force's chosen partners in a grand quest for justice. They were wrong. They were merely temporary employees in a cosmic corporation that has no interest in their feelings. Under the extreme crushing pressure of the Sith's ascension, the Force stripped away the Jedi's privileged status with a brutal efficiency. It allowed their ancient temples to be desecrated and their youngest students to fall, because the Order, in its rigidity, had become an obstacle to the very balance it claimed to protect. The Force didn't abandon the Jedi. It simply outgrew them. It moved into a post-moral phase where the soft language of justice was permanently replaced by the hard language of correction. If the Force were truly a moral guardian, why did it allow the Sith to rise and fester for so long? The answer is uncomfortable, because the Sith were a necessary part of the galaxy's stress test. The Force used the calculated cruelty and the absolute ambition of the Sith to break a stagnant, rotting system that refused to change or breathe on its own. It allowed the darkness to reach its absolute, terrifying peak, so that the subsequent reaction would be powerful enough to forge a new era out of the debris. In the eyes of a post-moral Force, the Sith are not villains to be defeated. They are hyper-sure valves, releasing 1,000 years of built-up toxic tension. A hurricane does not choose to hit a prison and avoid a hospital. It does not distinguish between the guilty and the suffering. It simply follows the unyielding laws of physics and energy. Under extreme stress, the Force operates with this same terrifying, godlike neutrality. It provides the raw power of the universe to anyone who has the will to wield it, regardless of their moral intent. As long as their actions contribute to the eventual, inevitable reset of the scales. The Force is the ocean, and the ocean does not care who drowns, as long as the tides continue to move. In this adult and cold phase of galactic history, the comfortable line between the light and dark sides begins to blur into a single, gray, and indistinguishable reality. The Force starts to demand actions from its servants that would be considered monstrous in times of peace, but are essential in times of systemic war. It forces its instruments, its heroes, and its monsters to make impossible choices, proving that when the universe is dying, purity is just another word for uselessness. Survival on a cosmic scale requires a compromise with the very darkness we claim to hate. And the Force is the one emotional concept brokering the deal behind the scenes. Hope is usually a warm, emotional concept, but in the reality, hope becomes something radiative, distant, and cold. It is the hope of a vacuum, the clinical hope that once everything is stripped away and every structure is leveled, something new might finally have the raw space to grow. The Force stops providing miracles for the desperate and starts providing inevitabilities for the survivors. It is the heavy, suffocating silence of a galaxy that has stopped praying for a savior and has started waiting for the inevitable end of the current cycle. As we conclude this descent into the post-moral Force, we must finally accept the hardest truth of all. We are not the protagonists of this story. The Force is moving toward a state where our human emotions are nothing more than background static on a cosmic radio. It is preparing for a reset, so massive, so total, that our fragile concepts of heroism will be crushed under the weight of the coming correction. We are now entering the territory of the brutal equalizer, where the only law left standing is the law of the scale. The era of the individual is over. The era of the result has begun.